This morning, I reorganized the State Board of Education and appointed new members who support public education.
Right after inauguration, Kentucky's new governor getting sued by the Board of Education.
The picture's broken, glass everywhere, and the more we walk through, the more devastation.
Members of two Hardin County churches are heartbroken after their churches were vandalized over the weekend.
And a big upset last night in New York City, a loss for the #1 ranked Cards.
Good morning and thank you for choosing to wake up with us on this Wednesday. We're going to get to those stories in a few minutes, but first we are going to talk weather. As we get over this hump, it's going to be a chilly day.
It definitely is. We have meteorologist Caitlin Fish here with the details this morning, and basically you need a jacket.
Yeah, you need a coat, you need hat, you need gloves, you need the whole 9 yards because we're in the 20s and it feels like the teens in many spots. A lot of folks already fallen into the teens as well across Kentucky. And it is going to be sunny this afternoon, but still a very chilly day. Chilly like yesterday, just add in some sunshine. So it might feel a little bit better as we head into this afternoon, but this morning it is very cold. You definitely want to bundle up. Chilly sunshine, of course, expected today and tomorrow's high pressure dominates the forecast. Rain and snow chances are not too far away, though. We'll talk about those in just a moment. For now, have to mention high pressure again. That is what is in control of our region. So a nice break from all of that active weather off to the eastern seaboard and a break from some more weather that is going to move towards our way for the end of the week. Clear skies, as you can see here. So we have some very chilly temperatures. 15 in Litchfield, 25 right now in Louisville, and our 25 here in the city feels cooler than that. It feels more like 19. As you can see, wind chill values all in the teens here across Kentucky. And so you definitely need all of the winter gear and maybe an extra layer or two as you and the kiddos are heading out to the bus stop or heading out to work. We'll reach a high of about 41 this afternoon with lots of sunshine. More sunshine expected for Thursday and some of Friday, at least before our next rain chances move in. We'll get to more in your forecast in just a moment. For now, have to talk about our traffic situation right now. We do have a confirmed fatal motor vehicle accident here at South Preston and Hill. You can see police are on the scene there and do have the road blocked off. I will show you a map now of exactly where that is there east of I-65. Again, South Preston Street and Hill. Just be mindful of that. If it does impact your morning commute, you're going to want to avoid this area for quite some time. That accident occurred around 4 o'clock this morning. Now, as we broaden out across our traffic map, most of our roadways are clear. One other accident to get to here, that is 265 North near LaGrange Road. This is a non-injury accident. It's already off in the shoulder, so not impacting your Dean Snyder commute. Here's a look at your drive times, 265 into downtown. So far, early on this Wednesday morning, we are still in the green heading into the city on your interstates, guys.
Not a bad start to the morning. Thanks, Caitlin. Well, our new governor, Andy Beshear, is shaking things up at the state capitol after appointing a new Kentucky Board of Education.
Yeah, he said for a long time that he was going to do this at the beginning of his term, but it's not sitting well with the board members that he removed. They're fighting back with a lawsuit. So, Brooke, day 2 of Beshear's term, already a court hearing? I guess that's politics?
That is what they are at least hoping for as soon as this morning, in fact. So this is the group appointed by Governor Matt Bevin. They say they cannot be removed before their terms expire without cause. In a letter from 10 of the ousted board members, 11 in all, they say the governor's order violates Kentucky law and politicizes the board in an unprecedented way that threatens the agency's stability, independence, and orderly operation. The board says its main priority is the 650,000 students in our public schools. Their attorney, Bart Greenwald, tells us they are seeking a hearing on this motion for an injunction as soon as possible, possibly this morning. Governor Andy Beshear, however, highlighted his reasons for the change.
These members were not chosen based on any partisan affiliation, but based on their commitment to make our schools better, to put our children first.
And the KEA supports Governor Beshear's decision. Among the newly appointed board members is David Karam, who recently retired as director of the Waterfront Development Corporation and previously spent time in Frankfort as a state senator and representative. He told us public education is probably the most important thing state government does, and hopefully it can be helpful to work on improving education in the Commonwealth. Now, as for that court hearing on this most recent lawsuit, it's unclear if and when that'll take place. We'll keep you updated. Kristen.
All right, thank you, Brooke. And as Andy Beshear was inaugurated into office, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb announced his agenda for the 2020 legislative session. Holcomb is calling for a statewide ban on using cell phones while driving without a hands-free device. Indiana law currently prohibits texting while driving, but officials say that they haven't really been able to enforce it. He also wants lawmakers to raise the state's smoking and vaping age to 21. According to the American Cancer Society, Indiana has one of the highest smoking rates in the country, and nearly 35,000 Indiana children have used e-cigarettes.
Some big news this morning in horse racing. Kentucky is now the first state to start phasing out the use of Lasix on race days. Lasix was given to horses to reduce or prevent bleeding in the lungs, but it's pretty much a performance enhancer, and the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission is going to ban it on race day for 2-year-olds starting next year. By 2021, it won't be allowed in any graded stakes races. The commission also approved requiring 14 days of medical records when a horse enters a race. The reforms have the support of Churchill Downs, Keeneland, and other thoroughbred racetracks in Kentucky.
Turning now to a tragic story we're following this morning. A man is dead after being shot in the Algonquin neighborhood. Officers found his body just before 9 last night outside the Parkway Place Apartments on Patton Court. If you have any information that can help police, call 574-LMPD.
It's not just a building that, was vandalized. This is our church.
A lot of emotion there from the pastor's daughter at Needham Cumberland Presbyterian. That's just one of 2 churches near E-Town that were vandalized over the weekend. The other is Smith's Chapel United Methodist. So take a look at these pictures from Sunday morning. This is what those people saw when they walked into their church. Things like bathroom sinks ripped off the walls, dishes smashed, broken piano, damaged artwork. The church's shed was also set on fire, and a lot of sentimental things are missing.
I mean, some things you just really can't put a price on, like our Bible, 45, 50 years old. How do you put a price on that?
We have faced this loss, but we will pick up and keep going. And I hope that's the message that people get, that we're going to keep going.
Neither church had surveillance cameras, so it's making it pretty hard to figure out how many people were involved or who they were. Church members have been working hard to clean up all this damage, and they say they're grateful for all the support they've gotten so far. Kentucky State Police are looking into what happened, so if you know anything, call them.
Well, let's talk some sports. Their first loss of the season, and it was to an unranked team. The #1 Louisville Cardinals fell to Texas Tech last night at Madison Square Garden in the Jimmy V Classic. Here's sports director Kent Spencer.
Louisville seemed to play their worst offensive game of the season last night against Texas Tech, and they ran into a Red Raiders team who, despite coming off a stretch where they lost 3 straight, are starting to find themselves. Louisville had control of the game for a moment in the first half. Jordan Wara in the corner knocking down the tray, but then they went ice cold, almost 10 minutes without a field goal. For the game, the Cards were 34% shooting from the floor, 3 of 17 from beyond the 3-point line for the entire game. The name of the game in this one, turnovers for Louisville, 19 in all, and so many times it was because they were trying to feed the post to guys like Steven Enoch and Malik Williams. The point guards also really struggled for Louisville. Darius Perry, 6 turnovers himself. Texas Tech made big shot after big shot down the stretch. Louisville falls to the Red Raiders 70-57 in the mecca of basketball. Next up for the Cards, they'll host Eastern Kentucky on Saturday, but Louisville is now the 4th team this year, ranked #1 to lose, following in the footsteps of Michigan State, Kentucky, and Duke. For Wake Up, I'm Ken Spencer.
Something about that #1 spot. And still talking sports, Kentucky also plays on Saturday. They'll host Georgia Tech at 5 o'clock. 5:08 this morning. It's time for news by the numbers, starting with a huge project to restore the Florida Reef.
Officials say it's one of the largest strategies ever proposed for coral restoration. Officials plan to raise $100 million to restore several coral reefs around the Florida Keys. They take up nearly 70 acres. The National Marine Sanctuary says that the reefs have been suffering from a number of threats for years and that these projects are supposed to help save them.
$40 million. That's how much General Motors is agreeing to loan to an electric car company in Ohio that wants to make pickup trucks. Lordstown Motors wants to take over the Ohio assembly plant that shut down earlier this year. Documents show that the agreement would allow GM to buy back the plant up until next May. Lordstown Motors wants to start making the trucks by late 2020, but says it needs more investors before they can get to work.
And 1,400, that's how many solar panels are on Mall St. Matthews. And today, the city of Louisville is going to show them all off. This is the largest solar installation ever in Louisville. This should reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050.
The holiday season is all about family and friends, making sure that you spend the time with the people that you love the most. But for some people, that's really not an option. But there is a way for them to still feel special and to feel loved. Beyond the doors at Ramsey Middle School, students in the library are hard at work. This time it's not chemistry or algebra.
I wrote Happy Holidays on the front like a Christmas tree.
It's arts and crafts. Colored pencils, markers, and construction paper to make handmade holiday cards for the elderly.
I'm gonna draw a star.
It's part of Operation Holiday Card, and the goal is to send 11,000 cards all over the country to people living in Signature Healthcare nursing homes.
People deserve visitors, so why don't we just give them, a little joy during the holidays?
It's just to help, just to do what we can.
Feels good to get back.
Yeah, it feels really good.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays may be what you see on the outside of these cards, but inside,
Remember that you are beautiful, amazing, and loved.
thoughtful messages.
I hope you have an amazing day or night. Love, Julia.
They really seem to be thinking about who is receiving the card.
Last year, Jefferson County Public Schools partnered with Signature Healthcare to create thousands of cards. And for those on the receiving end,
oh my goodness, they loved it so much.
It really meant something.
When they got the handmade cards, they were so happy.
This year, students hope that continues.
Maybe a little laugh because I put Chris Mahana Kwanzaa instead of Happy Holidays, so.
All you gotta do is just show that you care.
Proving pen and paper, or markers in this case, can truly go a long way.
I want them to feel happy, just a little bit of warmth inside.
Happy holiday. I hope this brings a smile to your face, if nothing else.
I think they'll bring plenty of smiles to faces this holiday season. And we want to hear from you about what's right, maybe at your school or in your neighborhood. You can go online to Twitter or Facebook and send me a message. Let me know what's going on at KPierce TV. A new bill in Kentucky would require students to use bathrooms based on their biological gender. One lawmaker says it's for their protection, but one transgender man says that's not the case.
More on that story in just a bit. For now, here's a check on your Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions $340 million, Powerball $140 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, providing over $3 billion in grants and scholarships.